This is the Madras High School Athletic Hall of Fame Class of 2026 induction ceremony. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Madras High School Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Evan Brown, and it is truly an honor to serve as your Master of Ceremonies tonight as we celebrate the athletes, coaches, teams, and supporters who have helped shape the proud tradition of Madras High School athletics. Tonight is about legacy. It's about commitment, teamwork, perseverance, and the lasting impact that individuals and teams can have on generations that follow. The idea for the Madras High School Athletic Hall of Fame began in 2016 during a conversation between Margaret Sturza and myself. At that time, I was the athletic director at Madras High School, and Margaret was the recently retired athletic director. We were traveling together to a district track meet when we both realized the same thing, that a Hall of Fame was long overdue and the rich athletic traditions of Madras High School deserved to be formally recognized. That drive quickly turned into a full brainstorming session. Margaret had a pen and paper out, ideas were flying, and by the time we returned home, the foundation had been laid. By the fall of that year, a committee was formed, and in the winter of 2017, the first class of inductees was selected and honored. I did notice one member of our inaugural class here tonight. That's Mr. Ryan Boyle. Tonight is a continuation of that shared vision. As you entered the gym this evening, you may have noticed the Hall of Fame board in the lobby. I encourage you to take time to look at the plaques honoring the athletes, coaches, teams, and contributors who represent the very best of Madras High School athletics. The Madras High School Athletic Hall of Fame is guided by a dedicated committee that works to recognize the outstanding contribution of athletes, coaches, teams, and supporters of the Madras White Buffaloes athletics. The committee includes Margaret Sturza, Andy Leonard, Tony Ahern, Gary Harris, Rich Madden, Shauna McConnell, and myself. Current athletic director Walter Stahl serves as a non-voting member, providing support and guidance to the committee's work. Together, this group ensures that the Hall of Fame honors the rich traditions of Madras athletics, while celebrating the achievements and inspire future generations. Tonight, each inductee or representative will offer a brief acceptance speech following their introduction. We'll also pause for photos during the ceremony. Let's begin with our first inductee. Dave Randle, teacher and coach, 1964 to 1994. Tonight, we honor a coach whose impact on Madras High School athletics spans generations. Dave Randle came to Madras in 1964 after competing in football and track and field at Lewis and Clark College. Over the next 30 years, he became the driving force behind Madras track and field and cross country, building programs that defined excellence. His boys cross country teams won 10 district championships, including 9 consecutive titles. Captured 3 straight 2A state championships from 82 to 84, followed by a state runner-up finish in 1985. His boys track and field teams added 8 district championships and 2 second-place finishes at the 2A state meet. Dave was recognized statewide as a 5-time 2A cross-country Coach of the Year, and in 1985 became the first coach in Madras High School history to earn the 2A All-Sports Coach of the Year honors. His career was later recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National High School Athletic Coaches Association. Beyond the accolades, Dave was known for his personality, his quick humor, his famous dog bark, and his ability to make athletes feel valued. Dave Randle has passed away, but his legacy lives on through the athletes he coached and the standards he set at Madras High School. Representing the Randle family, please welcome Dave's sons, Jeff and Pat Randle. Come on up for a picture. Jeff.
You got it up here. In front?
Yep, right in front. And I'll let you guys do this.
You're left-handed.
Smile at the camera, guys.
All right.
Awesome.
There you go.
And speaking for Dave will be Jeff Randle.
Yep. Here, I'll take it.
Okay. Oh, a mic too. Yeah, they don't usually turn me loose with the mic. Yeah, he was kind of an idol of mine growing up, and obviously he did a lot of great things. One thing for sure though is he's in the Hall of Fame and Bill Belichick's not. That's really what I got. I just appreciate everybody coming here and listening to this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I gotta say, right?
Thank you, Jeff and Pat, for sharing. Please join me once again in honoring the legacy of Coach Dave Randle. Dallas Stovall, MHS class of 1975. Tonight we recognize an individual who is a standout athlete at Madras High School, but whose induction into the Hall of Fame honors something even broader: his meritorious service and lasting impact on Madras High School athletics, felt not only on the field and courts, but across generations of students and families. Dallas Stovall is being inducted for his meritorious service, honoring a lifetime of quiet leadership, generosity, and unwavering support of Madras athletics and greater community. Through his leadership at Brightwood Corporation, Dallas and his family consistently invested in the success of student athletes. Those contributions came in many forms: providing football helmets to support player safety, donating fencing materials for baseball outfields during field renovations, and helping create facilities that improve daily training opportunities. Dallas's support extended beyond facilities and equipment. For years, Brightwood donated tickets to professional sporting events, which were raffled to raise funds for athletic programs and student activities. These gestures helped strengthen programs while reinforcing the connection between school, business, and community. Dallas also gave generously of his time and leadership. He coached youth sports in Jefferson County for decades, including leading the Senior League All-Star team to a state championship and mentoring countless young athletes along the way. His belief in the value of sports, teamwork, discipline, accountability, and confidence guided everything he did. What makes Dallas's contributions especially meaningful is that they were rarely publicized. They were made simply because he believed in kids, believed in schools, and believed in the power of athletics to shape lives. Tonight we honor Dallas Stovall not just for what he gave, but for how he gave, with humility, purpose, and a deep commitment to Madras High School. Please join me in welcoming Dallas Stovall, Hall of Fame inductee, for his meritorious service to Madras High School athletics.
Fancy camera.
Awesome. Okay, thanks. That's a big step.
It is. An old guy.
Oh, God.
You graduated 50 years ago? 51.
50.
Yeah, 50.
You already interrupted me.
I'm making you at ease.
Yeah, appreciate it. He's always after me, man. Okay, I'll do this quickly.
Put the mic in your mouth.
Okay. Okay, in October of 1960, the first sale of Brightwood Corporation's, it was pine blocks cleats, hand-loaded in a rail car. Carl Peterson, Jack Stockton, and Ken Stovall loaded it. And a box cleat is a little piece of wood that goes in between the corners of a box. And they loaded them all in a rail car. Not banded up. But anyway, in 1978, Carl and Jack sold their interest to my dad. Dad had a very humble life, living by his mission statement to constantly improve the quality of our lives. And his acts of giving proved he wanted to make a difference on the community and especially the kids. I just made or had my 50-year class reunion and last year, and truly doesn't feel that long ago from those years. I was able to share the stories with my classmates, reminisce about the good old days, and many stories included the highlights of high school sports. Coaches were easy on us, but weren't easy on us, but Susie wrote this, so I'm just a big thanks to Rob Hastings and Mert Barth for believing in the players. The dynamics were top notch, and those lessons I learned in athletics were among the many that whatever. Okay, we got it. And in conclusion, I will end with a quote from my dad. You don't need to give money with a lot of fanfare, and it's absolutely an honor to support the athletic department and many of the kids in our community. I could see positive impacts on the donations, and it's truly humbling to have this award. Thank you.
Thank you, Dallas, for your continued commitment to Madras High School and to our student athletes. Please join me in congratulating Dallas Stovall. Steve Rogers, Madras High School class of 1981. Steve Rogers stands among the most complete and accomplished athletes in my Madras High School history. A four-sport competitor and 8-time varsity letterman, Steve distinguished himself in football, track, basketball, and baseball. A testament to his athletic ability, toughness, and work ethic. On the football field, Steve was a dominant force on both sides of the ball. As a junior, he rushed for more than 1,000 yards, earning all-league honors while anchoring the defense at defensive end. His senior season elevated his legacy even further as he rushed for 1,325 yards, earned first-team All-League recognition on both offense and defense, and was named the team MVP. In 1981, Steve became the first Madras player in nearly a decade to compete in the Shrine Game. There, he showcased his versatility by intercepting 2 passes, returning them for 22 and 52 yards, while also contributing offensively with a rushing touchdown. Steve was equally impactful in track and field. As a junior and senior, he ran sprints and served as a key member of the school record-setting 4x400 relay team, which finished second at the state meet both seasons. That relay mark still stands as a school record today. Steve continued his athletic career at Portland State University, earning a football scholarship and competing at the college level for the Vikings. Although Steve is unable to be here tonight, speaking for him is his classmate and teammate in countless athletic competitions, Tony Ahern, who will share a few words about Steve's achievement and legacy. Please join me in welcoming Tony Ahern.
Thanks, Evan. Congratulations to all the Hall of Famers. This is quite the class. I'm excited. I remember being 7 years old watching these guys in Coos Bay. So that was a few years ago. Steve lives in California, and he has some physical elements that makes travel difficult for him, but he wanted me to express how grateful he was for this honor, and he was really excited. He called me a couple of times to tell me things. I met Steve when the Rogers family moved to Madras in 1974. We were sixth graders at Buff Elementary over there, and in trying to come up with some things to talk about, I'd realized we were on like 13 different teams together. And he, like Evan said, lettered in 4 sports. It could have been golf, could have been tennis. You know, he could have been varsity on all those. Could have been a great wrestler, but he loved shooting that 20-foot bank shot too much. And basketball was not his best sport. Football was. And when he first came to Madras High School, you found that out really quick on our freshman football team. He was the best offense, best defensive player, and we were pretty good. We beat everybody, Ben, Redmond, John Day, except those demon seeds from Primeville. They always beat us. And his first varsity, and I think it's easier to talk about somebody else than yourself, isn't it? So I'll try to not talk about Steve for 2 hours. But his first explosion really as a varsity athlete came in the next fall as a sophomore. And it was kind of a historical game for Madras High. We were playing Vale. They came into town, they were ranked #1. And our coach, Rod Chester, was from Vale, really wanted to beat Vale. But that was hard to do. And that game, Vale was up by about 6 points. And Madras had the ball with about a minute left, and the offense had been stagnant all game. So Chester made the move. He pulled his senior tailback, put in that sophomore kid. And first play, 15 yards around side. Next play, about 12 yards to the left. Up the middle for about 8. We're just moving. You know, that's a little 120-pound sophomore on the bench. Yeah, that's our boy. Come on, Steve. And but the last play, one of the last plays, is we ran a running play. And Vale stopped us from running out of bounds, so the clock was going to go out. But a miracle happened. The Vale kid broke his leg on the play. So the ref said, oh, timeout. And it gave, the ambulance came on, took the kid off, so Madras had I think 1 second left. Now 1 second, Jimmy Sowers threw a pass to Chet Van Pelt, caught it, extra point, Madras beat Vale. And that miracle doesn't happen without my boy Steve running the ball. So junior year, we weren't very good. We were a junior team, and we had one really great junior, and that was Steve. And he broke the school record in rushing, first team all-league defensive end, but probably didn't have to have back surgery from carrying a softball. But the next year, senior year, we were really good. We had a bunch of seniors, the JV kids, the junior class would have been undefeated as juniors at the JV level. Had some big kids, man, they had some big kids. And so we had a good game, our good team. The first game was Crook County, the Demon Seeds, coming back here. And that was 1980, before MTV, HBO, so people actually came to the games. And Primeville, there was as many Primeville people as Madras people, because they loved their team. And so to start the game, Coach Chester decided to throw a bone to the kids that went to daily doubles but weren't going to get to play very much. So we had them on the kickoff team. And the problem was he didn't relay that memo to the Crook County coach, and they had their studs on the kickoff team. So we kick off, their guy, Jim Bachman, runs it all the way back for a touchdown. So we're down, 7-0 just immediately. We get the ball, go on a long drives, long Steve heavy drive, and score a touchdown. And we're all excited, but before we're done celebrating on the sidelines, that kickoff team goes back out there, kicks off, Jim Bachman runs it all the way back. So we wound up losing by a couple of touchdowns, but Crook County wound up winning the IMC that year, making the AAA state playoffs, they beat Jesuit. I mean, they were a good team. We knew that we could play with them, and we actually outgained them by about 100 yards. So we were pretty good. So we wound up winning our next 3 games. We were 3-1 in the league. Felt like, hey, this is it. We're going to win conference. We go up to Mac High. We're up 12-0 at halftime. Get beat 14-12. I don't remember what happened, but in doing some of this research, I looked at the Pioneer, and Coach Chester didn't blame the officials, but he said the officials acted unprofessionally. So I don't know what happened. But the next week we played Burns. And Burns was a defending state champion, really good. We knew we had to beat them to keep our dreams alive. Had most of the game. They score really late, get ahead of us. And so we have about a minute and a half and to go the distance. And on 4th and 15, the late Brock Brooks catches a pass over the middle and runs it to about the 15-yard line. And from there, Steve runs it in, or so he thinks. And so he still thinks he scored. The referee put it on the 1-inch line. But, it was okay. It was like 30 seconds left, all our timeouts. We were good. First down. So in comes the play from the sidelines. And it's for a running play to a tailback not named Steve Rogers. So I said, okay, we'll run the play. The Burns middle linebacker makes a Superman move, gets through our line, collision, fumble, Burns recovers. So we're 0-2. And I remember that game right after that play and how the game ended. And I looked across the field and I saw Steve. And it was like recesses on the other side of the field, and maybe by the other side of the track. He had his arm around the kid that fumbled the ball. And when I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, I go, Steve, did I remember that right? Did you have your arm around the kid? And he just goes, he was hurting. And I said, that's perfect, Steve. Great teammate. A couple games later, we won our next 3. A couple games later, Steve breaks one of his usual 80 yards for a touchdown. And about 20 yards behind the play, one of our linemen just flat clips the heck out of the guy. And they call it back. So, we lose all that yardage. And walking back to the huddle, the lineman who clipped started crying. He's, just because he felt so bad about screwing up Steve's great play. And Steve just, got into his face and just started kind of laughing and said, don't worry, we'll probably do it again next play. And, Steve kind of thought he would. But we wound up taking second, and those cheaters from Mac High got to go to state. Burns won the league. But, if we, sports is full of coulda, woulda, shouldas. But had we fallen that last inch and won the conference, we would have hosted a home playoff game. And I think about it, there's one player on our team that really deserved that home playoff game, and that's Steve Rogers. So that was tough. But, he got to go to the Shrine game, and I was looking through the Pioneer, and it's talked about Steve, and it said that he had 8 interceptions his senior year. And I was going, wait, he played defensive end. How do you get 8 interceptions? But then I thought, if it's in the Pioneer, it's got to be right. So Steve, but then, he goes to the Shrine game, and they put him at DB, and he gets 2 interceptions. And he runs another touchdown in as a running back. And then Steve was all about his friends. And after playing baseball for a couple of years, he went out for track just to hang out with his good buddy Dan Gauthier, because Dan was in track, and that's the only sport they could do. So what happens? He goes out, and he's the best sprinter on the team. And he runs the legs in both the 4x100 and the 4x400, set school records. Their 4x400 team, as juniors, took second in state, as seniors took second in state, and their record they set in 1981 is still the school record. I got to check with the Randle boys. Weren't they running on gravel? back then?
Cinders.
Yeah. So it's amazing to me that they still own that record. And when Steve went to Portland State, he told me that he was the 25th back out of 25 when he showed up for camp. And, he's a small town kid, didn't even make state. How good can he be? A couple weeks later, when the season started, he was on the field. And one of the games, he had over 100 yards rushing as a freshman. And his life was changed the next year. Right before his sophomore season, him and a buddy got in a motorcycle accident. His friend was driving the bike. They wrecked. The friend passed away. Steve got injured, missed his sophomore year. But sometime after that accident, he kind of rededicated his life to God and Jesus and decided he wanted to be a pastor. And when I was talking to him about this again, I asked him, I go, Steve, what about, I remember you getting over 100 yards rushing. And he was, yeah, I don't know. But he really didn't want to talk about that. He wanted to talk about how excited he was when he was a senior that the coach let him speak to the team before the game and give him a message. And I thought, that's pure Steve. And he, if you think about somebody who's going to be a minister, you think about a kid who could have been the biggest bully in school, but he was nice to everybody, a friend to everybody. Everybody loved him. And, he was just, on top of all that, he was one of the best athletes to ever come through here. And it's an honor to get to talk to him tonight, so thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for sharing those words and memories of Steve. Please join me in honoring Steve Rogers and his legacy at Madras High School. Merlin Rodman, Madras High School class of 1948. As the Hall of Fame committee began researching Merlin Rodman, we were in awe of the accomplishments he achieved at a time when athletics were still in their infancy at Madras High School. His extraordinary performance set a standard of excellence that continues to inspire today. Arriving at Madras Union High School as a junior, in the years following World War II, Merlin immediately made his presence felt across 3 sports. During a time when athletics were becoming a cornerstone of school pride and community identity. On the football field, Merlin was a dynamic, touchdown-scoring running back who led the Buffaloes to their first ever Class B state playoff appearance. During the team's early season run, Merlin scored nearly every Madras touchdown, including long breakaway runs that electrified crowds and established him as one of the most dangerous players in the region. He was also a key contributor on the basketball team, helping Madras qualify for the 1948 Class B state basketball tournament. Merlin also played in the very first Shrine football game in 1948. But it was on the track where Merlin became truly legendary. At the 1948 state track meet, he captured state championships in the 100-yard dash, 220-yard dash, and long jump, setting state records in all 3 events. A feat that placed him among the elite athletes of his era. Merlin was one of the greatest pure athletes Madras High School has ever seen. Merlin Rodman has passed away, and there is no one here to accept this honor on his behalf. Still, his accomplishments deserve to be remembered and celebrated. His name belongs among the giants of Madras athletics, and his legacy continues to inspire. Tonight, we proudly honor the memory and achievements of Merlin Rodman. Please join me in recognizing his lasting impact on Madras athletics. Fran Moses Ahern, MHS class of 1977. Fran Moses Ahern was a true pioneer for women's athletics at Madras High School. At a time when opportunities for girls in sports were still developing, Fran excelled in both basketball and volleyball, helping lead the White Buffaloes to remarkable team success. After high school, Fran continued her athletic career at Mount Hood Community College and later at Washington State University, where she lettered in basketball during a pivotal era for women's collegiate athletics. In 1984, Fran returned to Madras High School as the school's first ever softball coach, helping establish a program that would grow and thrive for decades. Through coaching and mentorships, she has passed on her love of sports to countless young athletes. Her legacy is found not only in championships and honors, but the doors she opened and the opportunities she helped create. Please join me in welcoming Fran Moses Ahern.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee for the selection. And my granddaughter Addie saw my paper and she told me, "Grandma, that's way too long." So I'm not going to cover everything, but I thank you. And growing up in the 70s, and my grandson always teases me about saying, "Well, back in my day," which was a long time ago, you know, we didn't have a lot of opportunities. And I grew up with 6 brothers and 4 sisters, and my brothers got to play Little League, and I would go and I'd practice and I'd play with them and sometimes out-hit them. But there weren't a lot of opportunities for girls in sports in the 70s. And so I got my first exposure because of my sisters. They played on a tribal team coached by Teddy and Vernon Tunawasha, and I was just always hanging around, you know. And, you know, they played softball. They introduced me to softball. They introduced me to basketball. And I just really appreciate that because there wasn't anything. Although that didn't keep me from trying. There was we had a community center. There were, like, we could do rifle club. So I learned to shoot a rifle. There was boxing. I actually went to boxing practice. But anyway, that's why I first initially was exposed to team sports. So I love team sports. So I appreciate what they offered to me, and when I was able to, that's what I wanted to offer to other tribal youth. You know, we were able to, when I came back from school, I exposed kids, and one of my best things is I hired Andy Leonard, and together we exposed kids to skiing, archery, everything imaginable. I would take them to Mount Bachelor, and oh, those broom trails were beautiful, but sure enough, somebody had rolled down the hill because they'd never skied before. And I was like, it's okay, it can be fixed. So anyway, I just really appreciated getting to work with so many kids and give back, because that's what I received. And I thank our coaches. Robin Gerke was our first basketball coach, and Dave Wiles. And I'd just like to say thank you, because I don't think too many people were signing up to coach girls sports. But once we got there, you know, we loved it. And probably our best competition was ourselves. We held ourselves accountable in our basketball program. Anybody could challenge anybody. It didn't matter if you were a starter. You had to earn your spot and keep it. So anyway, so I told somebody that today, and they said, I don't think it's quite like that anymore. But anyway, I just appreciated that. in volleyball, we had a lot of injuries, and you know, as I look back on it now, I wish we would have worked harder. So we got third place, and I just have to tell this quick story about Dan's mom. Dan was my boyfriend in high school, who is now my husband. But his mom went to the tournament, and we got third place. We had a great following. The community was great, and she came up and was talking to me, and I was like, not real happy. She was like, what is wrong with her? And I said, well, I didn't come here to play for third place. I said, I wanted to win. So anyway, so I think Grandma Pat thought I was crazy. But anyway, I thank my family. My sister Joanne is here. Her kids are here. They were all Buffaloes. And I just really appreciate all the support that they gave me. At Washington State, I was able to travel. I was able to participate with girls from everywhere. And I just, you know, not everybody gets to do that. And I realized that when I came back, and I was like, anybody could do this if you work hard enough. And when I came back from WSU, and I got a job with the tribe. And like I said, I tried to expose people to a lot of things. And I did appreciate working in the school. Margaret Sturza called me. I really wanted to be the basketball coach, but it was an already established program. And so I said, okay, I'm going to teach these kids the fundamentals. And that was one of my biggest things was I had all these kids sign up, and we needed a bus to bring them. And I called Margaret and I said, hey, I have all these kids and they have all these skills. They're learning all this stuff, and I need a place for them to show. So I don't remember what year it was, but I brought probably 50 kids to one of these high school games, and they performed, and they did ball handling drills, and that's the best applause I ever remember. And I have 3 kids. It was a big surprise. All 3 of them are Buffaloes. They all participate in sports. Susan's here, Marissa's here, Bobby's here. All my grandkids are here, 5 of them. And, you know, I just want you to know that supporting them is one of the best things I've ever done. I remember my grandson hitting a game winner, and I never jumped so high. And I was so excited. My granddaughter Addie, who's right here, she's always the fastest one on the court. And she's a great dancer. And my other granddaughter is Ella, and I have never seen a kid smile from ear to ear being able to play with her friends. So I'm just happy and thankful. So thank you for supporting your kids. And if you're old enough, some of you said they got to see me play. Bud Beamer told me he watched me win. So anyway, I thank you. And if I worked with your children, Heidi Boyle, I appreciate all the help you gave me. And Kanita, we taught 1 million kids how to swim. So yeah, I just thank you.
Thank you, Fran, for sharing your story and for the impact you've had on Madras athletics. Please join me in congratulating Fran Moses Ahern. Darrell Ceciliani, Madras High School class of 2008. Darrell Ceciliani was one of the most competitive and accomplished athletes ever to represent Madras High School. A 3-sport standout, Darrell earned 10 varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball. While he was a strong competitor in every sport, it was on the baseball field where his talent truly flourished. At Madras, Darrell was a 4-year baseball letterman, earning all league honors as a sophomore, junior, and senior, and all-state recognition as a junior and senior. He helped lead the Buffaloes to the state playoffs and was named MVP of the state senior all-star game, cementing his status as one of the Oregon's top high school players. After one season at Columbia Basin Community College, where he earned All-American honors, Darrell was selected in the 4th round of the Major League Baseball draft by the New York Mets, the highest drafted Oregonian that year. Darrell's professional career took him through every level of the minor leagues before he reached the major leagues with the New York Mets in 2015 and later playing for the Toronto Blue Jays. His journey was marked by perseverance, production, and resilience in the face of injuries. One of the most memorable moments of Darrell's career came in his final major league at-bat, a fly ball that cleared the outfield fence for a home run. It was a storybook swing. Unfortunately, that same swing resulted in a dislocated shoulder, and Darrell never returned to the majors after that injury. Even so, his accomplishments remain extraordinary. Darrell has continued to give back to Madras High School as a volunteer coach and mentor, and his legacy is permanently honored with the name and number displayed on the MHS outfield fence. Please join me in welcoming Darrell Ceciliani.
Mike, yes you do. Uh-oh.
Where's your Mets hat?
My Mets hat? Yeah. They didn't pay me enough to keep one in the closet. First, I just want to say it's a privilege to be recognized with all the athletes that come through Madras. It's kind of, this is where everything started for me. So, you know, I guess I got to kind of thank my parents for getting me into sports, and it's not in the way you guys think. It was Darrell, if you don't go do anything after school, you're going to work. So I ended up loving sports from the time I was a little kid. just so I didn't have to go hoe weeds or anything like that. You know, it's funny, baseball was probably my least favorite sport growing up, football and basketball. I could do that all year long. Baseball was, I guess, ended up being my best sport. And took me for a career ride that I have zero regrets, and of how it turned out, even though I blew my shoulder out on my last swing. Thanks, Coach. I want to thank Coach Brown McConnell, two coaches, teachers that they kept me on my toes or in line while I was in school, which I walked a pretty fine line. We won't get into too much detail on that, but they always kept me in check, so I appreciate them very much. You know, it's an honor. Thank you guys very much, and thanks for having me down. All right.
Thank you, Darrell, for your remarks and for continuing to give back to Madras High School. Please join me one more time in congratulating Darrell Ceciliani. The 1970 boys basketball team, district and state champions. The 1970 boys basketball team holds a special and lasting place in Madras High School history. Coming off a challenging season the year before, the Buffaloes came together under new head coach Fred Sandgren, developing chemistry, discipline, and confidence as the season progressed. After an early loss, the team lost just one more game the rest of the year, capturing both district championships and the 1970 state championship. This team was defined by balance, depth, and unselfish play. While Ron Jones, an All-American, provided leadership and scoring, the championship was truly a team achievement built on contributions from every player who wore the uniform. Teammates stepped into roles, defended, rebounded, and executed when it mattered most. At the state tournament, Madras defeated Myrtle Point and Sutherland before delivering a decisive victory in the championship game. Jones set a state record, scoring record, and earned all-state honors, while other Buffaloes earned tournament recognition. Danny Martinez was all-tournament for his performance. That 1970 state championship remains the last boys basketball state title in Madras history. Though the program has since reached the championship game twice, continuing the proud tradition this established group set. Several members of the remarkable team have since passed away. We would like to take a moment to honor them and invite any family members who are with us tonight to please stand as their names are read. Ron Yaw, Phil Utter, Ken Schaefer, Willie Stacona, Bill Cram, Rick Sowers, and Coach Fred Sandgren. We also wish to recognize and acknowledge the teammates who are here with us this evening. Please come to the stage when your name is called for a group photo. Craig Wiegand, Ron Jones, Danny Martinez, Gary Snow, and Tom Catherine.
All right. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Speaking on behalf of the 1970 team tonight is Ron Jones, a leader of that championship team and an All-American who will share a few remarks. Please join me in welcoming Ron Jones and the 1970 boys basketball team.
Coach Jones. Oh, I got you.
Thanks. I think Danny said only take 20 minutes. On behalf of my teammates and the Rally Squad members who are here tonight, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for recognizing this 1970 championship, and also the Sportsmanship Award that year, which I coached high school basketball for 37 years. Usually the sportsmanship goes to someone who doesn't finish in first place. But our cheer squad and the support of the tribe at that time put on a halftime show like you wouldn't believe. Was there anybody that was here then? All right. They did so well the first night after we beat Myrtle Point, or while we were beating Myrtle Point, that they asked them to do it again. And the drumming, the excitement, it's fantastic. We could hear it down in the locker room, I can tell you that. Sadly though, in the last 56 years, since those 4 days in March, we have lost 6 of those team members, and Evan has pointed out who that is. And I know that Rick's siblings are here, and I know some of Willie's family is here as well. A junior on that team was Barry Hatfield, and he is not here tonight, but he did come to the Marshfield Booster Club recognition a couple of years ago. So I got a chance to see Barry then. And I know that Shannon was here apparently last weekend, the passing of brother-in-law, and so he's not here, but Tony's here. I'd also like to thank Tom Catherine for all he's been able to do for our team and maybe helping this recognition occur. I know a lot of us don't like to blow our own horn, but this recognition probably would not have occurred without Tom and Tony kind of helping us get over the hump there. Our coach, Fred Sangren, passed away a couple of years ago, and he was very proud of this team that gave him his only state championship. Danny and I were able to attend his celebration of life at South Albany High School, where he finished his career as a teacher and a coach. And his daughter, Tina, had saved a lot of the memorabilia that he had accumulated in his career. And what I was able to do, I visited with her a few weeks ago, and I went through this box and there were some tapes. And so I took it to a local business here, I live in Vancouver, that would convert those tapes into DVDs and CDs. So I brought some of them for the guys to take with them. There is a DVD of a game that Fred had made on 16 millimeter of the first Napa game that we played here in our own tournament. And then also there was on the wall it says, you know, beat the Eagles. So I'm assuming it was Watonka that was there. So, and he only had one reel from each of those games. So the guy was able to put them onto one DVD. So I gave that to our guys to take a look at. I think that they'll laugh when they look and see not only how young we were and less gray hair, but also the way that we did pass the ball, the way that we did move. It was worth the time.
Some of us noticed how short the shorts were.
Skirts.
Thank you. I wanted to share some words about, I'd gone through the internet and looked for words that would inspire about being a champion. And then I realized that I might as well give you a reality check of what it takes to be a champion. So as Evan was starting to go over some of our record, I'll give it a little clarity. So we win the first 3 games to start the season, then we lose on the last second shot to Bend, you know, at their gym, last second shot. Then we beat Napa in our own tournament by 9 points, but we lose the next game championship for the Madras tournament to Central Oregon College freshmen by 3. Then we win 2 games in a row, and we lose to Lakeview on a half-court shot. We're up by 1. Kid takes 2 dribbles and lets it fly, and it goes in. And Jerry Schultz, the coach at Lakeview, and Fred they were colleagues, but not friends. And that really hurt. That really hurt Fred. Then we win the next 5 games in a row, and we travel to Napa and lose by 10. And we win 9 games in a row where we averaged 81 points a game and only gave up 60 points a game. And then we get the state tournament, win the 2 district tournament games, and then we get the state tournament, win those 3 games in a row. So we finished the season on a 12-game winning streak. And we won those tournament games by 11 and 19 and 19 points. So in a way, they weren't necessarily close, but the team had gelled and come together. And those memories, I think, show that what it takes to be a champion is the determination, execution to overcome heartbreaking losses. You know, we probably shouldn't have lost to Bend. We probably shouldn't have lost to Central Oregon College freshmen. We definitely shouldn't have lost to Lakeview. But that didn't keep us from trying to do our best to overcome that. And I think this commitment was spurred by Coach Sangren. I know that he believed in us, and I believe that that belief carried over to all of us. You know, as the season went along, we realized some of the things that he was teaching us were going to help us win more and more games, and then pretty soon the championship is there. So I think the phrase that I would use is, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're probably right. And so we believed we could, and we went all the way. As the team, or excuse me, I should say, as the season progressed, all of us believed that we could make this come true. And the result was this championship. And I know it was the last one that you had, but they've been there 2 other times, so I think it could probably happen again at some point. At least I hope it can anyway. So on behalf of the team members who are here and the ones who've passed through their relatives, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron, for representing your teammates and sharing the story of that championship season. Please join me in congratulating the 1970 boys basketball team. As we conclude tonight's ceremony, I want to thank our inductees once again for the legacies they built and the pride they brought to Madras High School. Your achievements remind us that athletics are about far more than wins and losses. They are about character, community, and carrying forward a tradition that connects generations. To our families, coaches, supporters, and guests, thank you for being part of this celebration and for continuing to support Madras High School athletics. Congratulations to the MHS Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2026. Have a wonderful evening.